Hi folks, Dave with DBS Tech Talk, and today we're going to review the flagship from Noble Audio, and that is known as the Sultan. The Noble Audio Sultan was provided by AudioTiers as part of the gear tour for the Noble Audio Sultan. I want to thank both Noble Audio and AudioTiers for allowing me to partake in the gear tour. Noble Audio, AudioTiers, you rock. Check out the links down below for more information regarding AudioTiers, also for information regarding Noble Audio and where you can purchase the Sultan, also for information about music that was used during this review, also for gear that was used, how you can contact the channel, how you can support the channel, all kinds of other good things. So check out the links down below. Also, while you're down there, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. All right. Also, while you're down there, you can get a link to my written review of the Noble Audio Sultan. Noble Audio Sultan comes in this very nice box. This is a very nice cardboard box. Has some information here on the back, and it says that it is an aluminum body with unique hand-finished faceplate, 7-driver arrangement, which is including one 10mm dynamic, 2 ultra-frequency electrostats, 4 balanced armature drivers, an impedance of less than 35 ohms. It is hand-cymballed and matched. It is sensitive enough to use with most smartphones as well as portable amps and DAPs. Detachable cable with industry standard 2-pin configuration. Alright, so the Sultan. Let's take a look. When you take that off, you'll notice that there's some padding here. Also, there's padding on the inside of the box. This is a very nice box. Really do enjoy that. And then you get this nice Pelican case. Now, this thing is durable. It's going to protect. Did not do any drop tests with it, but I'm sure that it would survive something if it was to get a little rough and gruff in your travels. I do not recommend that with this price point of a IEM, but it would probably survive. Very nicely made. Has this little locking mechanism here. You have to pull them down on both sides, and then you can flip up and open. Oop, you have to unhook it, Dave. And then you can open it. As you can see, you got some more eggshell type of foam there. And there is your unboxing. You have your Sultan and some carrying case. Let's take a look at the carrying case here. It's a leatherette type case. Holds down by magnets. On the inside, you'll get a couple of Noble branded rubber bands. You'll also get a bag full of tips, and you get a ton of tips. You get white and black foam tips. They do have different size bores. You get small, medium, and large size in each of those. And then you get 4 silicone tips, extra large, large, medium, and small, and also a cleaning tool. You also get a Noble branded bag to carry things. Kind of feels velvety, along with the leather carrying case. Very nice packaging there. And then also you do get your Sultan. Let's take those out. Set the carrying case to the side there. Alright, now the Sultan does come with a 2-pin connected cable. And there's your Sultan. They have this very nice faceplate. It's kind of like woodish marble. Can't quite decide, but it looks very sharp. Has nice reflections on it. And if you look at it at different angles, you can get kind of depth out of the different textures in there. It's a very pretty looking IEM for being brown. The body is made of aluminum. Very nicely built. Very solid. It's got a little heft to it, but not too much. Doesn't feel clunky in the ears or anything of the sort. Has a nice angle to the nozzle. It's a little bit large on the bore. Tips are a little bit hard to get to fit on, but once you get them in place, they just kind of sit there. I do not have any problems with tips sliding off or coming off or anything of the sort. when they go into your ears, the first thing you'll notice is how well they isolate and seal outside noises. They're very good at isolating outside noises. I barely hear myself talking. They're that good. And the cable, this is top notch. Now, the only other Noble that I've ever really heard was the Noble X Universal from Drop. And that cable was not good at all, felt very cheap and chintzy. This cable is extremely nice. This is probably one of the nicest IEM cables I've ever felt and used. There is absolutely no reason to change this cable out unless you were wanting to go from the 3.5 to balanced, but I don't see any need to go to balanced, as these things are super efficient, and we'll get in on that later in the review. Well, overall, I just find that the build and the design of the Noble Sultan is very well done. No complaints whatsoever. All right, so the sound. I wasn't sure what to expect from the Noble Audio Sultan because I have had very limited Noble products. As I said, I had the Noble X Universal, and I've heard a couple of them at audio shows very briefly, like 5 minutes here, 5 minutes there. So I really have only heard the Noble X Universal. When I signed up for the review, I decided that I was not going to do any research beforehand. I wanted to be surprised at what Noble was offering with their flagship. And so I didn't read up on specs. I didn't read up on any information whatsoever regarding the Sultan. And so the surprise was the unboxing was very nice. I was extremely pleased by that and surprised at that Pelican case and everything just was like blew me away. So I was hoping that the sound of the Sultan would do the same. And since I didn't know what to expect, I just plugged them in and started listening. Was I surprised in the pleasing way as I was with the packaging and unboxing with the Sultan? Okay, so the bass on the Sultan is very defined and it is elevated. You are going to notice the bass. It's very fun and pleasing, but it's also kind of audiophile quality at the same time. It's very fun, thick, and boom, there it is, but also at the same time it's very detailed and clean and clear. The 10mm dynamic driver is very good. It does an excellent job with detail portrayal, sounding loud, sounding impactful, sounding deep, but at the same time not losing texture and tone. It's a very pleasing bass. The sub bass is a little bit more prominent than mid bass and upper bass regions, but it's not to the point where it's overpowering in anything. I wouldn't call the bass on the Sultan reference or neutral. It is very detailed, but it definitely is in the fun category, but it's also pleasing and detailed. Treble for the Noble Sultan. The treble for the Noble Sultan is very pleasing, non-fatiguing, and it has just enough energy, just enough air to keep it engaging. And the two electrostats in it do a very nice job. They are well controlled. They're a little bit on the laid back side, but they're not stuffy or dark in any way. They have just enough to really keep everything flowing, sound liquid and smooth, but not to be fatiguing and not to be too much in any one way or the other. It never goes into the boring regions. It never dulls you to sleep or anything like that. But it also never ventures into, hey, I got super high energy and I'm overbearing. It doesn't go that way either. It's kind of very well balanced. It's just there's really nothing to complain about when it comes to the treble. It's just good and it's just there. Soundstage and imaging on the Noble Sultan. The Noble Sultan soundstage and imaging, it's not the largest stage out there, but it's also not intimate. It's about average in width. Where it really excels, though, the Noble Sultan is very good in depth and in layering. There's a lot packed into the soundstage, and you can decipher the placement easily, and the isolation and separation of instruments is very well done. Every now and then, a song will come along where it'll sound slightly closed in, but those instances are kind of few and far between. I never heard the Sultan get confused, distorted, muddled, or anything, especially on busier tracks. It just seemed to, every now and then, close into space between the instruments a little bit more than it should. And it just didn't quite sound natural. But again, those instances were very few and far between. Normally the soundstage was very fun and engaging, and you could very much get lost in it, trying to decipher all the various instruments and vocals. Details on the Noble Sultan excel pretty much in retrieval and resolution, but I wouldn't say it's the best. It's a very good detail, very good resolution, but I wouldn't say it's the best out there. You're not going to be lacking any details, but you may have to put a little bit more effort into hearing them every now and then. Resolution of details could sometimes seem a little hidden, but for the most part, that's just kind of few and far between, as some of the other instances in the soundstage were. And you probably noticed something on the mids. I haven't mentioned them yet in the review. So 4 balanced armatures for the mids, and I love mids that are forward, vocals that are forward, and the Sultan kind of lacks in this area for me. And I also like rich tones and timbre and accurate and natural sounding in the mids, and the Sultan kind of lets me down in that also. I like the tone and texture of the mids. Unfortunately, every now and then they're a little uneven. The lower mids have a nice body to them, and very much lushness to them. They play very well with deeper vocals and instruments. I really do enjoy that. The upper mids are a little more forward, bring out higher reaching vocals and instruments. Everything sounds very nicely presented. It can be a little bit too elevated at times, but not too bad. It's the middle section is a little further back and can sound somewhat thin and unbalanced to me, and it comes across as being unnatural. It's really evident in instrument timbre, especially pianos and guitars. They sound uneven and unnatural. It isn't enough to write off the Sultan. I don't find it to be super offensive in any way, but I do find it to be just a little bit lackluster in that area. Sources that were cold and analytical brought out the harshness, sharpness, and edge to the mids a little bit. I found that if it was a little bit warmer or natural sounding source, these sounded better. Some comparisons. The Meze Rai Penta, I found that the Meze Rai Penta fit me better. The Rai Penta fits me like a glove. I have no comfort problems whatsoever with the Rai Penta. And with these, they don't fit me quite as well. And I have to take these out every couple of hours just to give my ears a little bit of a break. With the Rai Penta, I can go for hours on end. The sound-wise, the Sultan definitely has more oomph and more body in the bass, and is more laid back in the treble. The Rai Penta has more air and energy in the mids and in the treble. Soundstage is wider on the Rai Penta. I find that detail retrieval and resolution are very similar, but the Rai Penta portrays them in a more noticeable manner. You don't have to kind of hunt and peck for them like you do a little bit on the Noble Sultans at times. When it comes to sounding natural, my reach definitely would be for the Rai Penta. And as Sultan sounds a little too bassy and a little bit laid back in the treble when it comes to comparing to the Meze. Empire Ears Zeus in comparison. The Empire Zeus is similar in comfort for me. Neither the Sultan or the Zeus is going to win. It's just kind of either or. They're both about the same when it comes to comfort. Sound-wise, the Sultan has more oomph and body in the bass again. and it was way more laid back in the treble. The mids are similar, but the Sultan has more energy in the upper mids, and the treble is elevated on Zeus, and it has way more extension and details, and it is a lot more bright. Soundstage is larger on the Zeus, has more isolation and separation of instruments. Depth and layering are very similar. The Sultan will get the edge there, as it's a little bit more immersive and engaging sounding. Detail retrieval and resolution go to the Empire ears, as they're just very clear, very prominent. When it comes to sounding more natural, my reach would be in that for the Sultan. The Zeus is a little too bright and a little too far forward. Some gear that I used the Mytek Liberty, I used the iFi Audio Neo IDSD, the iFi Audio Micro IDSD Signature, Grace Design S-Deck Balance, the Drop THX AAA 789, Sony Walkman NWA 105, and the Pioneer XDP 30R. A couple that stood out for me were the Mytek Liberty and the iFi Neo. I found that those two had a very natural sound to them, a very lush and very engaging sound with the Sultans, and I found it very pleasing. And on the more colder sounding gear, things became a little bit harsh and edgy. I did enjoy the Sony Walkman a whole lot. I found that that was very enjoyable for portable use. The NWA 105 was an excellent pairing for the Sultan. I found that it had plenty of power to push it, and everything just sounded very smooth, lush, and very analog type of sound. So in conclusion, the Noble Sultan is a flagship from presentation of sound to the unboxing to the accessories, and of course the price tag of $2,900. But is it a flagship for me? When I reviewed the Meze Rai Penta, I knew immediately that that was a flagship IEM for me. I was immediately sold on it, and I knew I had to purchase it. I did not get that same effect with the Noble Audio Sultan. It just didn't drive me to say, I need these. I need to purchase them. The Sultan does so much right, and I truly enjoyed the time with them. But to me, they just don't cut the mustard. I do recommend them though, if you're looking for that bassy, kind of laid back treble, immersive sound signature. But I'm going to stick with the Meze Rai Penta for its more energetic and natural sound. This has been Dave with DBS Tech Talk. Thank you for watching, and I'll catch you on the next video.